Hi everyone, I'm Arglefumph. This is a death percent run for Nancy Drew, Sea of Darkness. I'm trying to reach the first death of the game as quickly as possible, and it takes about 15 minutes. This is not a game which is easy to lose. Yeah, the first death is pretty far into the game, and all the other deaths are really on timers. So like the death in the bilge room, you have to wait 2 minutes before Nancy dies. The death when you're snooping in Elisabet's bag, I think that takes like 3 minutes. The death in the lighthouse, I think that's like 4 minutes. And then the death, I'm not sure if there's a death when you're snooping through the luggage in Soren's area, but there's definitely a timer for that. I said definitely, but I don't know for sure, actually. I guess I'm just making that up. I'm pretty sure there's a timer for snooping in the suitcase at Soren's. So, none of those deaths are good for a death percent speedrun, because they involve getting to the area where the death is, and then you sit and do nothing for minutes on end until the death occurs. It is faster to go to a death where you actually do something to trigger the death. In this game, that's the ice caves. You have to use the ice hook on the ice caves, and that causes Nancy to die instantly. And I think that's the only instantaneous death of the game. There may be one or two at the end of the game where you make a mistake with the culprit, but that's the same thing, right? Nancy dying in the ice caves. So that's what the point of this video is. We are going to the first death as quickly as possible, so we have to get to the ice caves as quickly as possible. And that basically requires playing the first 15 minutes as normal. There's not a whole lot of differences between this and a normal speedrun of the game. It's even worse with the next game, Midnight in Salem, because, like, the deaths in that game, they're like 3 minutes away from the ending. So you have to play, like, the entire game. This one, we at least skip a couple of things. Like, the tokens, you might have noticed there was a token, when I was getting that gas can. There's a token by the side. I'm not going to solve the token puzzle, which is on the ship's wheel. This is where, things get difficult. Things get difficult. You need to make 3 orders of this stuff, and I don't have the solutions memorized. So, how quickly I do this, really affects the speed run. And I am just looking around, trying to find one that works. And that's one of the easier ones, is, this, because it's got 4 of the goats? Those are all goats, right? So that means the middle one has to be all 4 goats, like that. And then here, I'm trying to figure out where my math went wrong. So it looks like the top row should have been on the top instead of the bottom. I was trying to get it on the bottom, but I was incorrect there. So from there, I can easily get it. Great! Hooray! That's 1. I need to do 3. Yeah, if you want to get a very professional speedrun for this game, you've got to memorize it. Or just stop and save your game when you have to do this tour mortar challenge. I think here I'm figuring out, I'm trying to solve the puzzle at the same time. It's like, no, memorizing the solution would be way better. So it looks like in this case, what was I thinking? I just messed up. Okay, never mind. Forget that. Forget that. This is not going to be a world's greatest speed run. All right. So the bottom row is that one. Messed up that sheep there. And then we have 2 of the lax things there. Done. And now I'm just looking for another one that I can do. I did 2 of them correctly. Let's see if I can find another one. Get another setup. That looks like it. So that's another case where that top row is on the bottom, or is it on the top? Yep, no, that row's on the top. You know, it's a little easier when you're trying to get, when you get one of those lines of 6, because you know that's either got to be on the bottom or the top, but figuring out which one it is, that's tough. And okay, that messed up my entire speed run. Super slow. Like, in like, the official winning speed runs, the people just zoom through that 2-3 rounds of tour mortar in less than, 30 seconds. But, I'm not that good. I don't have the solutions memorized.
The motor's busted. Can't take it anywhere like this.
You could check the dinghy later on in the game. It doesn't really matter if you check it out here, but we have to see that there's no gangplank anyway, so I did it there. Messed up again, oh my gosh. So we need to see this sign so we can ask Elisabet for the snowmobile key. Because it only makes sense that, you know, that's one of the few things we have to talk to Elisabet about. So it only makes sense to have that conversation ready to go the first time we meet Elisabet, because we're only going to talk to her once in this particular speed run. You need to get the batteries, you need to get the book, that's why you had to do 3 rounds of the tour mortar. And now Elisabet's here, talking to Soren, after seeing the gangplank is gone, creates that gangplank. Now we get to talk to her, I'm asking her for the snowmobile key. And that's it. Now I'm having trouble clicking on the button for later. Oh, man. All right, and here I'm going to check to make sure. I'm checking the captain's log. I see there's a key.
Magnus have radio keys, apparently.
That's going to trigger a puzzle with Dagny. There's going to be one or two more like additional puzzles I solve here. Number 1, I get the lighthouse key here because I have to get to the lighthouse in order to get to Magnus's cabin, and I have to get to Magnus's cabin in order to know where the ice caves are, and I have to. The ice caves is where the death is. So basically, I'm just solving as little as possible, but I still have to solve a fair amount of puzzles just to get to Magnus's little house area. And here's the simple puzzle. You just pick up the flashlight. Nancy automatically combines her flashlight and the batteries. Okay, so now we're gonna leave. We're gonna talk to Dagny in order to get the radio key. Oh yeah, we have a phone call from Ned. We're gonna skip this.
Hello?
I feel cruel that the fastest conversation option is the third one here.
This case is...
That gets Ned mad at you and he hangs up. So it is faster. It's the fastest of all those conversation options, but it's so mean.
So we're gonna do this
I wish with that puzzle that Nancy was automatically thrown into the puzzle of solving the heater, because it always seems to mess me up. Like, I've got to end the conversation, but then I need to move my mouse up to click, and as you saw, I sometimes U-turn incorrectly. Especially the navigation of getting around on the ship. I just have trouble with that.
Where'd you get your PhD in electricitology again?
You do have to sit through that conversation before you can do it. This is probably not very fast. I'm sure like the super speedy people can click, move, and click, whereas it's like, do I have it in the right spot? Yes, and then I check. So if I didn't hesitate to make sure I had it in the correct spot every single time, that would probably save some time. I'm not winning any records with this speedrun, honestly, so it doesn't really matter. That tour mortar is so bad that I'm not winning any records. Okay, so she just gave us the key, which I'm going to use. Again, I messed up, had to U-turn to get back to where I go. We use the key here.
Hello?
We have a bunch of conversations with Alex. This one, it doesn't really matter which option you pick. Just pick whatever option you want every single time. She says the same amount of stuff every single time. And now we need to pick a specific option. We're asking about distracting somebody on the ship, and she says you need to fix the lighthouse for it. And that's why we changed the tides earlier. Oh yeah, also with Soren, we wanted to select a specific conversation with Soren, so he gave us the pamphlet, and we needed the pamphlet and the dictionary. Pamphlet and the dictionary in order to solve this puzzle. Now, it is possible that, you know, you could have checked the engine right here at this point before solving the puzzle. I did it earlier, so it doesn't really matter when you check the engine. You've just got to do it sometime before this puzzle.
It's working.
Great, so now, like, Nancy just steals this random person's boat, and we never figure out whose boat it is. Nancy is such a thief. I made a mistake there. I should have grabbed the lighthouse key when the screen was black. That saves like half a second.
They made it to the top.
And if I was fast enough, I should be able to call Alex before Nancy finishes that line of dialogue there, but I was not fast enough.
Okay, I'm in the lighthouse.
I did skip some of the puzzles inside Magnus's cabin, so that would be the other like big time saver in this particular run is we're skipping some puzzles in the cabin. Yeah. And of course, as soon as we reach the death, we're not going to do anything after the death. So that's going to be a huge time saver, actually. So this is another place where you just have to get lucky with the randomness. It is just a random puzzle. I know some people think they have strategies which work for this, but I haven't seen any like strategies which work so well. They work every single time. I only need 2 more. This is why I'm playing on Amateur Sleuth mode, by the way. This puzzle's way easier on Amateur Sleuth mode. On Master Sleuth mode, you have to make a few more bubbles. Oh, man, I've got the 2, like, light-up things, but they're nowhere near each other. Got it. Okay.
Fixed it. Time to phone Alex again.
I saw I got it there. All right, here we go.
Uh-oh, that's not good. The windows are open. Oh, it's so cold.
So would it be faster to go with this is the death? No, because you have to wait like 3.5 minutes here, and
Small numbers at the bottom.
let me see. So if this was the only death I went for, I would skip a couple of the things. Like I wouldn't have gone down to fix the flashlight. I still would have had to do Tor Mortar to you know, fix the boat so I could actually go here. So I don't think there was enough specifically related to this lighthouse scene that it would be a time saver to only do the lighthouse scene stuff and none of the others. I think I misspoke there, but whatever. The point is, this death is not fast enough for the purposes of doing the death percent speedrun. It is faster to go all the way to the caves, even though it's still going to take us a couple of minutes to get to those caves. Alright, and then everything's going to be real simple from here on out. We're just rushing to Magnus's little cabin in the woods. We've got everything for it. No, wait, no. I'm wrong. Alex told us about this, which gives us the alarm. That was that phone call. Alex told us about the secret alarm thing. That way we can steal Magnus's house key from Elisabet. Again, running too far forward, had to U-turn.
I have a feeling Elisabet never opened her gift. 4 crystals of each color, huh? This must be the key to Magnus's cabin.
And now we're going to rush to Magnus's cabin. If you try going to the cabin earlier, Nancy won't know where it is. You have to solve Dagny's heater puzzle to know where the cabin is. But if you try going inside, it's locked, so it doesn't help.
It's out of gas.
You do have to distract Elisabet for the key.
That should do it for the fuel tank.
Almost done now. Yeah, so what was this fun doing a death percent speedrun for this game? Not a whole lot of fun. It's basically just playing the game like normal, as I believe I've said a few times already. It's like this... It's just the challenge of playing the game quickly. There's no real skips or anything that we're doing. Nothing huge. Anyway, like I mentioned, hey, we didn't do the puzzle of on the ship's wheel of collecting the tokens. Well, most of the tokens for that puzzle were inside Magnus's cabin, and this death scene is right at Magnus's cabin. So is that really a time saver? No. Yeah, it's not. And here's the death, everybody. Woohoo! We finally made it. So, thank you for watching my video where I reached the first death of this particular game. I've done all the games in the Nancy Drew series, doing the death percent runs, reaching the first death of every game in the series. Check out the other ones, because the others are shorter and a lot easier, and I do some skips and tricks and stuff like that. This one was just pretty much a straightforward playthrough of the video game.